This video is only about 10 minutes long, but if you successfully apply what I'm about to tell you to your OnlyFans management agency, you will smash through plateaus and double or triple model revenue every 90 days. And I can say that with confidence because I've done it over and over and over and over and over again. From a very early age, we're taught to believe certain things are true before we're really able to think for ourselves. Some of those are things like less is more, quality over quantity, work smarter, not harder. However, like most things we're taught as children, these are just empty words, regurgitated by people who have never actually given them a second thought, or worse, hid behind them to excuse their own mediocrity. The reality is that in most cases, more is more. You need quality and quantity, and no matter how intelligent you might be, if you want to accomplish anything meaningful in the short time you have on Earth, you are going to have to work extraordinarily hard. This video is about what I believe to be the single most underrated concept in organic social media for OFM. Volume. Volume, 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 volume. No, I don't mean how loud your content is. I mean how much content you and your models produce. Volume is the answer to every single problem you currently have with organic social media. And in this video, I'm going to show you why. If one of your models has ever had a random drop off in views and engagement for no apparent reason, click the like button. I would imagine nearly everyone who's watching this video just smashed the like button. And I would bet nearly none of you knows that there's an insanely easy solution to this incredibly common issue. There are dozens of different reasons these drop offs occur. It could be a change to the algorithm. It could be a demographic shift. It could be a competing platform taking market share. And a lot of agencies will panic when this happens because they can't figure it out. But no matter what the cause is, I have a simple fix that works every time. Assuming that your content is decent. And if you don't know what decent looks like, subscribe to this channel and watch our short form video masterclass right now so you can fix your shit. You probably don't need to change anything you're doing. You just need to do more of it. Think about it purely from a math perspective. Let's say your top model gets hit by one of these drop-offs, and your average reach on individual posts drops by 30%. To make the math easy, we'll say you're getting 100,000 views per week on average with 5 posts per week. That's 20,000 views per post pre-drop-off. So multiply that by 0.7, and it goes down to 14,000 views per post. How many posts per week do we need to make to get back up to our pre-drop-off standard of 100,000 views per week? Well, just divide 100,000 by 14,000, and we'll see that we need 7.14. So you could have a meltdown, beg for help in every group chat asking why your reach got nuked and try to revamp your entire social strategy, or you can just make 2 more posts per week. Now ask yourself, why should I wait for there to be a problem to increase posting volume? If I can instantly recover from a downturn in views by posting 2 more times per week, what happens if I post 10 more times a week when my model is actually popping off? Or 20, or 30, or 50? On average, how many times per week are your models posting original content on socials? Some of you probably heard 5 posts per week from that example and thought, well, that seems pretty reasonable. A lot of you probably wish you could get your models to put out 5 original pieces of content per week.
3 or 4 times, maybe. I don't pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
3 to 5 unique pieces of content a week is dog shit. Milky won't even work with a model unless they agree to putting out a minimum of 21 unique pieces of short-form video on a weekly basis, plus photo content, plus stories on Instagram. That means 3 reels, 1 carousel, and 1 to 5 stories every single day, no exceptions. You might be asking how I get models to agree with this. And the answer is that A, we get buy-in from models by showing them how much faster they will grow both their following and revenue by making more content. And B, we make it a contractual obligation. You don't fill your content production requirements, there are financial costs that are associated with that. OF management is a two-way street. When they sign that contract, the model's sole responsibility is to give you the raw material you need to make her successful. It's your job as an agency to both set clear expectations for your model on what constitutes success and make it as easy as possible for your models to meet those expectations. What that looks like in practice, for us at least, is that the only thing Milky's models have to do is shoot videos and photos and upload them to a Dropbox. We handle everything else, from pre-production tasks like ideation, research, and script writing to post-production tasks like editing and scheduling posts. I'm not going to get into the nuts and bolts of that right now, but if you are interested in exactly how we do that, you can just click the link in the description to download our entire creative process and production workflow in PDF form, plus a full video walkthrough on precisely how to implement our workflow in your agency. What I will say is that this is just one of many problems that volume solves. I said this before, but it bears repeating. No matter how good you get at social media content creation, you will never be able to predict with perfect accuracy how a given post will perform. Most people think that consistently going viral is a function of effort and quality. But if there's one thing that I've learned from content creation, especially for OnlyFans, it's that you have absolutely no idea what quality means because you don't think like a gooner. Here's an example from my early days in OFM. Early on in my career, Milky produced what I thought at the time were super impressive results for one of my creators by creating skit comedy. For every piece of content, we would spend 2 or 3 hours writing a script, coming up with variations of hooks, writing the funniest premises and punchlines we could think of, another hour or two of shooting, getting the perfect lighting and camera angles, and then another 3 or 4 hours editing them, getting the timing of the sequences just right, adding sound effects and transitions and graphics, finding the perfect music, all that fun stuff. So you're talking about 8 hours of work or more for a 45-second piece of content. I was proud of the work that we were doing, and the skits were really funny and really performant pieces of content by anyone's standards, but they never really went viral. Because the skits were so labor intensive and we needed to hit our volume requirements, we started supplementing that high quality skit content with lower effort content that we could shoot and edit in under an hour. Super simple concepts. And one of the first pieces of low effort content we published got 30 million views within a week of posting it. And to this day, it is still one of the best performing individual pieces of content we've ever made. And I almost didn't post it because I thought it was trash. That isn't to say that there aren't best practices for content creation or that you should not put effort into content, especially if you're trying to build a legitimate brand for the model. You do need that. What I'm trying to tell you with the story is that while consistency and skill are necessary for success, virality on short form platforms is a lot like winning the lottery. And the most effective way to increase your chances of winning the lottery isn't to sit down and think about the numbers you're going to pick for 8 hours. It's to buy more tickets. Milky's thesis is that, at least right now, figuring out how to post more content at a reasonable minimum viable quality. Again, we give you the blueprint for that in our 40-minute short form video masterclass, which you should watch immediately after this if you haven't already, is the single highest leverage thing you can do for your models right now. If you are trying to grow revenue via organic social, your number one objective should be to put out as much content as possible at that minimum viable quality. And there are 3 specific tactics that we've tried and proven effective in-house that you can easily incorporate into your agency today. The first is simple. In order to pump out more original content, you need to build and systematize your creative and production process. As I mentioned earlier, we have a whole creative ops PDF guide with the attached companion video that you can download for free with the link in the description. But if you have models with crazy earning potential that you want to scale immediately and you want help building and managing a creative team, or you want to outsource that process entirely, Milky is reopening our consulting practice in September for 2 new clients, and you can apply to be one of them via the second link in the description or by visiting our site milky.media/agencies. If you're already confident in your creative ops acumen, the second tactic is to really narrow down the types of content you produce. This requires a bit of experimenting because you have to try different content verticals and formats to find something that people actually like. But conveniently enough, volume solves this problem too, because the more content you put out, the faster you're going to figure out what people do and don't respond positively to, and you're going to grow a larger data set that enables you to act with more information. Ideally, you'll find something that's relatively easy for the model to pump out a lot of, but that has room for variation and iteration, so you can introduce a little bit of variety and improve it over time. If you go this route, make sure it's something that the model enjoys, or at least can tolerate, making. The Instagram algorithm in particular seems to really reward this type of content creator at the moment. Basically, the more you niche down and stick to a small variety of content types and themes, the better the algorithm gets at serving your content to the people who want to watch it. Once you strike gold and hit a few viral clips, and trust me, if you're putting out 21 unique pieces of content a week, you're going to go viral at some point, you'll find something that people like that's relatively easy to pump out a lot of, that you can easily introduce a little bit of variety and spice into, and ideally that the model enjoys making, and then milk it until it's bone dry. A perfect example of this tactic in action that I've mentioned in other videos is the creator Sid Wingold. She's not an OF model, but her page mostly consists of her wearing quirky outfits and dancing to the song Baby by Justin Bieber. Here are some examples. Along with some of her most popular videos and their view counts. I don't know why this screenshot is so weird, but these are accurate figures. As you can see, she's been putting out essentially the same video 5 or 6 times a week for the last year. And it still consistently prints tens of millions of views a week with 0 signs of stopping, and she just broke 1 million followers after less than 24 months of consistent posting. So find your quirky outfits Justin Bieber thing and ride it until it dies. And finally, if you're too illiterate to read our production workflow guide, too small or low resource to build a team, too broke to hire Milky for consulting, or too much of an artist to find a content vertical that works and make 1,000 different versions of it, the third tactic for increasing volume is going to be your favorite, because it's by far the easiest to implement. Just reuse your best content on a regular cadence. The way that we do this at Milky, and the way that I would recommend basically every agency who does organic social do it, is a bi-weekly roundup. Every 2 weeks, for all of our creators, we look at the prior 2 weeks' best performing content, typically anything that got 1 million or more views. We then add that content to a Dropbox folder called
The Hall of Fame.
And then, roughly 45 days after we posted it the first time, we just post it again. We then make sure to notate the date that it was last posted, and then 45 days after that, we post it again, and again, and again. And 9 times out of 10, the content performs very similarly to how it did the first time, no matter how many times we posted it before. Sometimes it does even better. In the music industry, they call this playing the hits, and it's a viable tactic here that will supplement new material, reinforce your brand, introduce new viewers to your greatest hits, and most importantly, it'll make your life a little easier by reducing the amount of raw content you have to produce. If you got value out of this, the best way you can show appreciation is to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out some of our other content. Milky's sole objective is to provide high-quality, free information to other business owners, and we're constantly trying to improve our content. So if you have any questions or disagreements or requests for topics that you and your agency would like to know more about, drop a comment and I will personally respond. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
I'm so fucking cute, bitch. I'm so fucking cute.